You know that the one thing I don't love about it is its lobby.
I'm shocked. I just don't feel it. Did you say mating?
I
Wow,
did.
that's
Yeah.
two of us agree. It goes on the list.
No.
Hey y'all, it's LJ here, owner and founder of Smart Moms Plan Disney and Smart Moms Travel. We are so glad you're here for another episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. Now, here's your host, Aly.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. This has been so much fun as we are working our way through these mega 7 episodes where we are really digesting each of the 7 dwarves, which we obviously draw a lot of inspiration on our show from anyway, and just doing whole episodes about them. I am here today with a topic that is my favorite, I would say. Listeners probably know by now. My friends certainly know. The two people I'm joined with certainly know, LJ and Karla. Hello.
Hello.
We are here today to do the sleepiest of them all, the episode that is going to, by the end, help us compile a list of 7 must-stays at Walt Disney World. So we're going to duke it out, talk it out. There are so many options, and we've talked about them a lot on this show. So I'm excited to sort of see where our decisions lie here. What are the 7 must-stays when you're thinking of all of the options?
I'm excited for this. And I gotta say, like, I feel like my list is gonna be controversial. I feel like you guys are gonna, I feel like you guys are gonna be like, no, LJ.
I'm interested to know what approach you both took, because we are all three, we're super similar, first of all. We're all very experienced in staying on Disney property. We all have very similar taste. So I'm really wondering what approach you both took when you sat down to make your list.
My approach was simple. I leaned into my 7 wing in the Enneagram. The 7 is the one that loves to have all the fun. That's me when I go to Disney. Like, I'm fully in my 7 wing. And so mine are all about, like, you will have the most fun if you stay in these places.
Interesting. What about you, Karla?
I think that's a good approach, LJ. For me, I have this luxe side of me, and I'll be honest, all 7 of mine aren't deluxe resorts, but they're definitely leaning into that vibe more than they are to those super like Disney centric resort options. When I go to Disney, I go because I love it. But when I go to my resort at the end of the day, and we've talked about this where the resorts are for us, I don't want to be surrounded by like loudness and like the Florida ceiling Mickeys and the giant statues and all that. So that doesn't appeal to me. So I'm definitely coming back to more of a laid back vibe. I'm going with more than anything like location and the amenities around that location.
That's interesting too. So I really sort of leaned into my travel agent side, I guess, because I was obviously drawing inspiration from myself. Where do I like to stay? But I also talked to so many different families that do like to Disney in different ways. And so I tried to really lean into what types of memories are we trying to make? What types of experiences are we trying to have? Not necessarily just my family, but families that I've come to know over the past couple of years. And so I think this is going to be really fun. The funny thing about Disney World, or not funny, but interesting maybe, is there are so many resort options, and we've really taken the time to break down what those are. So this will be sort of an awesome free-for-all. Before we dive in, I want to remind all of our listeners that we need your help with the dopiest of them all coming up here in just a few weeks. You can find the link in our show notes and bios and social medias, but we are going to be doing a mailbag. We need to know, what was your dopiest mistake when you went to Walt Disney World? Something you did that we can laugh about together on the show, something you wish you would have known or you would have done differently next time. Fill it out. Let us know. Let us have some fun at your expense. And it's going to be a really fun one. I can't wait.
Oh, I have some good Dopiest. I'm about to go fill it out for you.
Yeah, I have my own as well, although I think I've shared quite a few of them here on the show already. Okay, are we ready to do this?
I'm ready.
Right?
All right, the 7 must-stays. This is so fun. I get really jazzed when I start to think about Disney resorts. LJ, I want you to start, I think, because you might be the most, I mean, I don't know, we're all pretty experienced, but I guess you probably are there. We are absolutely there the most. And I'm interested to hear what your take on a must-stay is.
Okay, so keeping in mind that this is all about having fun and a fun trip, here we go. I have only 3 deluxes, and I did that on purpose because I wanted the other categories to have a good showing, and because I feel like there's people out there that deluxe is like not going to happen for them right at this moment, and I feel like they should be represented because I feel like it's probably a lot of people that can't necessarily, maybe don't want to attain that this year. So I'm going to start with the non-deluxes. My first one, and this is, I think, one of the most fun experiences on Disney property, and I know this is going to be controversial, the cabins at Fort Wilderness. I know you didn't think I was going to say that.
Actually, I am so glad you did because it's on my list as well, but I have a specification.
Go ahead. What's your specification?
So I said a cabin at Fort Wilderness on a holiday, like on Halloween or around Christmas.
That is, I'll go with that if it gets it on the list, because I do feel like those are like the very peak times. But my kids, every like around their birthday, I will let them pick wherever they want to stay. This is, the sky's the limit. Like, I'm like club level, it doesn't matter because I usually only do 2 nights, so it's nothing that's like gonna break the bank for me. And my kids are consistently like the cabins, and they want a golf cart, and they just love rolling through the different loops, seeing people's decor. It's honestly, it's not been on holidays. The last, my kids' birthdays are not really near holidays. We do love going during Halloween, Christmas, 4th of July, like, and seeing everybody decorate everything. So I'll go for that if it gets it on the list.
Karla, I want to hear your take because I'll plead my case, and I have already disclosed that it's on my list.
I really don't think that you need, or we need to plead any case because it's actually on my list as well.
Are you serious?
So yeah, I know. Surprising, right? Guys, I have a bear tattooed on my back. Like, as luxe as I am, like in my head, like in my heart, I'm a little outdoorsy, right?
Yeah.
So I have it on my list for the experience that you're having like outside of the parks. And I think that that's a huge perk with this resort. There's so many activities that people don't even know about there. You have the Tri-Circle D Ranch where you can go and ride ponies, see horses. You can archery, you can rent canoes, kayaks. Again, driving it home with the holidays. I don't think you guys understand the level that people go to. So at this resort, you can have the cabin, which I'm going to be honest, not my favorite, but guess what? They're being redone finally.
Yes.
So they're not going to look like they did when I was 4. Great news for you guys. But then you can also pull up your RV. You don't have an RV, you can rent an RV. Companies do that. And people go, I'm telling you, like all out. Like, even if you're not staying there, if you're there during the holidays, I urge you to go over there and see what people are doing during Halloween and Christmas, because it is an experience all in itself.
And you're not going to be able to get in. You need to take Disney transportation in if you want to just go look around, because during the holidays, they know it's going to get so crowded and they stop letting cars come in.
Well, and you're not going to be able to get in as a guest if you don't book early, because people know this is like not a good, a best kept secret anymore.
It's so fun.
I mentioned this on our Halloween versus Christmas episode a few weeks back, that it's totally a bucket list for me to trick or treat at the cabins, with my kids. And right now my kids are young, and so we're trick or treating at home and in our neighborhood, but we will do that at some point. And the year we decide to do it, I almost need to decide 2 years in advance, because you got to reserve it so far out. So I knew that we were going to align. And when I was making my list, though, I was kind of chuckling because I do think I put some things on here that I was like, this might surprise LJ and Karla.
I'm shocked. That fact that you both have that on, I am like, I really thought that you guys were going to be like, haha, LJ, you're
no way.
So lame.
We can just go ahead and add that to the list, right?
Yeah, it's obvious. It's obvious. Okay.
Like, if these are numbered in any sort of way, it should be like 5, 6, 7, just thinking out loud.
I think we're not going to number them. We'll just give us 7 must-stays, and then our listeners can check them off. Okay, Karla, what do you have?
My number 1 top want to stay there all the time, and it's going to play off of our first choice, is going to be Wilderness Lodge. I think it's such an underrated and not well-known option for deluxe, and not only for deluxe, but also for that Magic Kingdom area of resorts. So it's kind of competing with the monorail resorts, but this is totally my vibe. Again, that mountainous aspects that you're getting when you walk in the lobby, like the grandness of the lobby. The dining options there are like some of the best in my opinion as far as the experience and the quality of the food. I love the vibes that you get during the holiday season with the giant tree in the lobby, the fireplace, the rocking chairs. At the end of a park day, to come back to this resort to me is like comfort, relaxing, but there's also that luxe element to it that I love.
I hear you on it.
I had it. It's on my list. It's absolutely on my list. I agree with so much of what you said, and I'll add that I feel like it's a price winner for its category. Like you would almost put it as a monorail resort, and it's like such a savings compared to those. So that's something that always my frugal background is like loves. And then the second thing is like I feel very much like it's almost a destination into itself. Like I can spend serious time there and not feel like I need to rush around and get to the parks. And I feel like I see a lot of people in that same frame of mind where people are playing chess in the lobby or just curled up with a book. And they've done such a great job of making it feel really homey and comfortable and also being incredibly grand. So it made my list for sure.
Let me plead my case as to why I didn't put it on my list and see if I can persuade you all to not put it on there right now. I love this resort as well. I'm staying there with my family in October when we come down for our Halloween trip. I think it's a great option. Like you both said, it's so close to Magic Kingdom. It's in that area. So we're excited to take a boat from Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party back to our resort. That's going to be awesome. The reason I didn't put it on my list, it was for a couple reasons. Number one, I went with the cabins, which we already discussed, for my woodsy, outdoorsy type vibe. And then the other one is, yes, it sort of does rival the monorail resorts because it's in a similar area. And yes, price point is great in comparison. However, it's not on the monorail. And the garden standard rooms at the Contemporary, which actually are on the monorail, they're not on my list. But if I'm just thinking from a frugal standpoint, those also can be a way to save money. And so it didn't make my list for those reasons, even though I do love it. I just think that there might be other like better must-stays.
Well, I think that it's 2 against 1, so
Definitely, my choice isn't coming from a price point at being a deluxe because it's literally my number one must stay on my list, and that's of all the resorts. For
Okay.
me, it's the vibe there. It's the convenience factor of taking the boat over to Magic Kingdom, which is to me a huge perk. You can easily hop on the monorail if you wanted to get to Epcot. So that convenience factor as well. But also, when I'm comparing it, like if I think of another resort that I would compare it to as far as like the aesthetic and the vibe, I would probably compare it to like Animal Kingdom Lodge because something about the two lobbies of those kind of remind me of each other. But I feel like, and I know that we'll probably get into Animal Kingdom Lodge because I'm sure it's on one of y'all's lists, but sure you have this Savannah view, but I really feel like you're so secluded over there and you don't really have that convenience factor of being in that location where you can easily like hop on something other than a bus to a resort. So that's kind of where I stand.
I will happily put it on the list because I do love it. Like I said, it was not on my initial list, and we're going to obviously digest all of these and dissect them all. But I'll put it on there, and this is our show. This is our list. We can always move things around, but I'm happy to put it on there. It's a great resort. It's not a bad choice, and I've never had a bad experience there myself or any families I've helped.
All right, so Aly, give us something that's on your list.
Okay, I'm going to go the opposite direction to stick with our diversity factor here. And I'm going to say a Finding Nemo suite at Art of Animation.
It's on my list, baby.
But here's why. It's obviously not my personal number one pick. However, I talk to a lot of people that want to go to Disney all the time. And the one thing people are always looking for is, well, where is the most Disney resort? And to me, the most Disney resort doesn't necessarily mean, and we've talked about this a great deal, especially on our deluxe episode, it doesn't necessarily mean Disney all in your face. However, art of animation, stepping into the movie, being on the Skyliner, being affordable, and having space, because the family that's staying there is probably staying there with younger kids. And so having basically a suite, but not paying the price of a villa is, really awesome. And the Nemo area is preferred because the value properties are really large. And so this one keeps you closer to the amenities.
I can't believe, like, I literally have Finding Nemo suites at Art of Animation. Like, we are so in sync that it's scary. Because, like, I love the Cars area, and it might, like, arguably, the theming is so good over there. That pool with the cozy cones. And I am, like, so much more deeply emotionally connected to the Cars movies than I am to Finding Nemo. And also, Lion King is, in my mind, a much better movie, and again, deeply rooted to my childhood. Like, that was one of the ones we had on VHS where you just watched it again and again and again and again and again. But you cannot beat being in the Nemo suites because you're so close to everything. You're right by the big blue pool, which is an incredible pool. Love it so much. You're right by the lobby. You're right by the food court. You're right by the Skyliner. And I think the Skyliner is, like, really seals the deal. Like, it has, just like you said, it's the Disneyest of everything, and it's the best there. So I'm on board.
I don't hate it. I know where you guys are coming from. I know it appeals to so many people that are coming to Disney and wanting that full, like, Disney 24 hours a day. So I get it. I just don't like it. Don't like it.
It's not your personal vibe because it's loud. And that's something we really talk about a lot on this show. And I don't mean loud in volume. I mean, it is, but it just specifically color and environment and experience. It's loud. And for that reason, is it my personal must stay? No, but for a Disney loving family with little ones, LJ, all the movies you mentioned, plus Little Mermaid is over there. And most of the buildings are suites, right? Cars,
Mm-hmm.
Lion King, and Nemo are all suites. And to be honest, Nemo is, I mean, I hope I don't get hate mail for this, but my least favorite of all of those movies. I just, for the reasons, yeah, I mean, but it's still great, whatever. And it is the best location. So I think it is a must stay when you're thinking about Disney and bucket list and what a normal family that maybe has never been is envisioning when they don't even understand the other options that we discussed on the show. This is the one you're imagining in your head.
I totally get it. I think when you're comparing it to the other value options, that it just makes sense as far as theming. It is the most well-desired Disney value resort, and that's because of those themed rooms and because of its ability to accommodate a family of 6, which you can't do many other places without paying for the villas. So I understand you guys wanted it on the list, and I'm okay as it stands as an option.
Okay, I like it. This is,
Look
I
at us.
knew
We're
we were
so
all gonna.
open.
We're so
Okay.
mature. We're so real, self-actualized. It's incredible.
Okay, LJ, that's going to be to you. Let's hear another. What is an LJ must stay?
Okay, it has to be Beach Club. It is by far one of my kids' choice for the most fun trip. When I say we're going to be at Beach Club or Yacht Club, because the pool is the same and the pool is really what's driving it, it's something that my kids are, like, super excited about. I'm excited about it. I love the aspect of just putting life jackets on my kids and letting them run around. And that means I get to get a little nice sun rest as well. The sand bottom pool is something that it is like my kids don't really want the beach. They want the beach club pool. Like, I'm like, we're going to the beach, and they're like, do you mean beach club? And I'm like, no, the real beach. And they're like, let's just go to beach club. And I'm like, yeah, that's really hard to argue because there's no mosquitoes and it's lovely and the water is clean, and, like, Hurricane Hannah's is right there, and they're walking around bringing you food, and there's towels and there's umbrellas. And I'm like, I feel like this is better than the beach. I feel like it. Also, Epcot Resort, you can walk. I'm a huge fan of walking. I love it. And I feel like being able to walk to Epcot, being able to walk to Hollywood Studios, you can also take the Skyliner or a boat, and being able to hop over to Epcot to grab dinner in the evenings. It's just unparalleled. It's a whole experience.
Karla, is this on your list?
It's not, because I knew it would be on both of y'all's lists, but I have a comparable option, and it's just on the other side of the boardwalk. It's the Boardwalk Inn. And it, for me, comes down to being that specific location is the heart of the boardwalk. It's over there where you have so many of my favorite restaurants. You know, our team member Katie loves to go grab margaritas and nachos and pizza on the boardwalk. They have the ice cream shop. Just everything about it over there is just perfection. Even when I stay at other places on the boardwalk, Swan and Dolphin, I'll even get transportation from the Boardwalk Inn. I will go and watch movies under the stars there. I love that the lawn has those lights, those like bistro lights that are hanging. Something about it is like such perfection for me. And a lot of these other resorts, you have the restaurants within the resort, and that's kind of your dining options. At the Boardwalk Inn, you actually go outside of the resort for the most part for your dining options. So you have like Abracadabra, you have Trattoria, Flying Fish. You have all those options that are like right there in the heart of the boardwalk.
And let's not forget about the new champagne bar.
Can't wait. The cake
I'll meet
shop.
you there. Yeah. So I actually think you just made the case for LJ and I as to why Yacht and Beach is actually the must stay, because I agree with everything you just said, but I do all of those things whether I'm staying at Boardwalk or not. My family goes to the Boardwalk itself on every trip, regardless if we're staying there to eat dinner, to see the entertainers, to have an ice cream or a margarita, to watch a movie if we'd like. These are all things you can do. This is a spot you can visit whether you're staying at the boardwalk or not. But if you're not staying at Yacht and Beach Club, you do not get to go into Stormalong Bay. You don't get to have the lazy river. The pool at the boardwalk does not have a zero entry. And I have this very vivid memory of taking the early flight in with my then 1-year-old twins and 4-year-old daughter. My whole family was there. My parents were there. And our room wasn't ready naturally. And we had planned just to kind of have a pool day. But I didn't account for the fact that we'd be at the resort by like 10 a.m. And I was exhausted. The kids wanted to swim. The twins were too little for life jackets. And there wasn't a zero entry for them to just sit there. And so that made it very, very difficult. Whereas then a couple of months later, when we stayed at the beach club, they could just sit and play in the sand area. You actually have to have a wrist bracelet, like a paper wrist bracelet to get into Stormalong Bay. It's the only Disney resort that does that. You are not allowed to swim at other resorts, but Stormalong Bay even goes another level because it's so desirable. And then all of the other perks, the locations and things that Boardwalk and Beach Club share, you kind of get either way with the location and proximity. And I'll even do you one better, Karla, and I'll say a water view room where you're actually looking at the boardwalk, because I think the boardwalk is prettier to look at. So I'd rather stay across the way and like see the boardwalk.
And I totally get that. And I think more than anything else, it's again just to be somewhere on the boardwalk. I think if you're going to take this and take any sort of value from it, I went to Disney for so long without even knowing that the boardwalk exists. And I think that that's the case with so many of our clients that go, that unless we tell them, they don't know that this like little gem of Disney is there. The
That's
perks
mind
of
blowing to me to miss it. Like and I know people, like I see people who are like not using a travel agent, and I'm like, why? Because they're free, and you're missing out because your travel agent is going to be like, do you want to spend time at the boardwalk? Whereas like if you're just out there planning your own swimming, like trying to keep your head above water, dealing with all of what comes along with planning a Disney trip, and like, why are you doing that? Could you just use a Smart Moms
It
travel
feels
agent
I
for
feel
free?
like everybody always gravitates to Disney Springs. They think that that's kind of that's like their day off, their night off. They're going to go to Disney Springs for dinner. It's like, no, you got to go to the boardwalk.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. You got to
You
go. There's a
are.
dance hall. There are bars. There are restaurants. There's desserts, music. I mean, it's just, gosh, it's so fun.
You
So
want to
It's so
get
much better than
the,
Disney Springs. It's not even in the same family for me. I would
yeah.
so much rather spend time at the boardwalk than I would. Disney Springs is like a giant mall
Yeah.
sometimes.
And
Yeah,
you
it
know
really is.
what? If you're trying to convince your husband to like Disney, don't take them to Disney Springs. Take them over to the boardwalk. Have a nice dinner on Sunset where you sit outside. Go take him to the Abracadabra bar. Have an old fashioned. Like, you'll be going to Disney the rest of your life. You might even go
Yep.
over to the DVC counter and, you know, like make your Disney dreams come true.
Yeah, that's so true, Carla, because I took some friends of mine a couple of years ago that were just not, they just like weren't Disney believers, you know. I was the gung ho, we're doing this, it's going to be so great. And they were just, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? But I did start our trip at the boardwalk and we had the best time. You know, this was an experience they just could never have, they just didn't anticipate something like
Right.
it. So, okay, Yacht and Beach.
So we're putting Beach Club on the list then.
Yeah, I wrote it as Yacht and Beach. And I mean,
That's
Carla,
fine.
you're
I love
fine
that.
with that, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm totally fine with. I just honestly didn't put it on my list because I knew it would be on your list and I wanted some diversity.
Okay, we are doing so great. This is so fun. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to continue compiling our incredible list here that we have of our 7 must-stays. Hey, Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast listeners. Have you joined our online communities yet? You can find us on Facebook and on Instagram at Smart Moms Plan Disney Podcast, where we're connecting daily with listeners, answering questions, and sharing our favorite Disney memories. Joining one of our communities, especially on Facebook, is like pulling up your own chair and joining the conversation yourself. Why let Tuesday be the only day you hear from us? Come join us to continue episode conversations, or maybe even tell us if you disagree with something we've said. We're planning trips, offering tips, and ready for you to pull up your chair. So follow the links in our show notes and join us at Smart Moms Plan Disney Podcast on Facebook and on Instagram. All right, we are back. We are having so much fun helping you decide where are you staying when you take your Disney trip. And we are really talking through what makes a Disney experience or resort a must stay. I think we're doing a great job. Let's just recap so far. On our list, we have added stay at the cabins at Fort Wilderness. If you can, make it on a holiday like Halloween or Christmas. Disney's Wilderness Lodge over in the Magic Kingdom Resort area. The Finding Nemo Suites at Art of Animation. And the Yacht and Beach Club. So I feel good about this. It's a good range.
I feel great about it.
That's a good start.
I think things are about to get a little messy though, because I feel like my final 3, I feel like you guys are going to be like, what?
I know. I think a couple of mine are definitely going to make the list, but I kind of have a feeling they won't all. But that's okay because, you know, we have to come to a consensus here. Carla, why don't you give us one of yours?
Sure. Okay, so playing off of our Fantasyland draft in our favorite pavilions, my favorite pavilion is France at Epcot. So my next resort is going over to the Riviera, which is one of your deluxe resorts. It's one of my favorite resorts. It probably speaks to like another one of my vibes. I honeymooned in Paris. LJ, you just went to Disneyland Paris. I love everything about it. I'll be honest, the one thing I don't love about it is its lobby, but just off of the lobby is Le Petit Cafe, which I do love for morning coffees, coffee drinks at night. It turns into this cute little swanky cocktail lounge. You can get the best espresso martinis there. I love that it's on the Skyliner. I love the food options. Topolino's is there. Primo Piatto. Bar Riva is there. I love the mosaics as you're coming off of the Skyliner. I love that people decorate their little lanais during the holidays or for birthdays. I don't know, everything about it. The adult pool, the smell, the sound, the artwork, the pads and tampons in the bathroom. I love it all.
This is interesting. I have a take on this because it's kind of on my list. But I was really, like I mentioned at the beginning, trying to lean into all kinds of different trips you can take. And Riviera actually has a really, really unique room, really specific that a lot of people don't even know about. They have these tower suites and they're small. I'm talking like really small little studios. And I said suites, but they're not suites. They're little studios, tower studios. And the bed is a pull down. And I was really leaning into thinking, this is a must stay for a couple, an adult trip, just going with your significant other, stay in one of these tiny little corner rounded rooms with
Have you stayed there?
I have been in one. Have you stayed in one?
Yes. And I want to argue with you because it's not. I feel like the novelty of it is really cool, and like being in the tower sounds kind of cool. Like the views are not that great. You're not seeing anything incredible. And I just don't like, I feel like for what it is, the cost is super high. I feel like you could get so much more elsewhere. Riviera is not on my list at all. And it's mainly because of the cost. Like, I feel like it's super expensive for what it is. I love Primo Piatto, and it is literally my absolute favorite quick service anywhere on property. And you guys know that when we do the rewards trips, I'm almost always having my assistant go over and get dinner for us from Primo Piatto for our PJ party on the first night. And I'm like, I love that. I've stayed in the 3 bedrooms, and I could literally like move in to the 3 bedrooms.
Those are like full on apartments.
I think I've actually stayed in every room class. I might not have stayed in a 2 bedroom yet. It's like the value for money is just not there for me. Like it is a good location in theory, because you can get to Hollywood Studios and you can get to Epcot. For what it is, I just feel like they're charging so much. And I get that they can do that because it books up. But for me, it's like I could take it or leave it. When I'm comparing, so I'm booking 3 bedrooms to our rewards trips. And when you compare, like, let's just say like Saratoga Springs or Old Key West, for a 3 bedroom going through DVC, I can spend like $3,000, maybe even a hair under $3,000. And then when I look at Riviera 3 bedroom, I'm like, oh, $7,500, $8,000. And I'm just like, is it like 2-3 times as valuable? I just don't feel it.
No, and I think for me, I'm not even bringing the value into it. I'm bringing in like the aesthetic and making me believe that like I am not in the middle of Central Florida. I am not in Orlando. I am somewhere, and I think that Disney does a really good job with multiple of their resorts. I'm thinking like off the top of my head again, Wilderness Lodge, Polynesian. Some of these places you literally feel like you're in a different country. You're just somewhere exotic and beautiful, and that life outside of there doesn't exist. And that's kind of where I'm coming from with this pick.
Yeah, I like this pick. I'm comfortable leaving this one off because, when we're talking deluxe, I think there are better options in terms of convenience and views and things like that. I like the things we've mentioned that it has going for it. Karla, you obviously did a really great job summing up the food and the ambiance, and all of that really is next level. And I knew that my tower studio was going to be controversial and probably not going to make the list, but I had mentioned on our adult episode, I believe it was our adult episode that the 3 of us did together, that Riviera was the best resort for an adult stay. And so I really wanted to play off of that a little bit. And I just think the idea, and you maybe you're right, LJ, the novelty of staying in such a unique room that only this resort offers was a fun talking point. But I'm comfortable leaving it off.
I enjoyed the tower suite, but why I feel like it's not the tower studio, I felt it was very, very tight. And I was only staying in there with my son. I didn't have another adult. I had my Seth, and it was opening night of the resort, so it was a couple of years ago. It was super tight. Like it was like you were moving, like I felt like there was nowhere to put your luggage, and we were only staying a couple nights, so we only had like maybe 2 carry-ons. And I felt like I was moving our bags repeatedly to like, okay, now it's in the way of over here, now it's in the way of over here, let me put it in the bathroom, let me, like you're pulling down the couch, which that bed is just as quality of a bed as any other location. But here's the thing that you don't necessarily calculate is like when you put it up, the couch is there, and it's not like a pull-out couch. It's like it's a weird couch that's like weird like play cushions almost. It like kind of reminds me of the Nugget.
Okay, this feels a little like a stretch. The Nugget.
No, the cushions are like Nugget cushions. And they're on a base. They're on a base, but like they're just not comfortable. Like you're like, I'm sitting on this couch and I'm like paying so much to be here, and I'm just not.
But you guys, this is like Disney putting in their research and being like, have you ever been to a room overseas in Europe, in Paris, anywhere? I mean, at least like the Riviera, you have like really great air conditioning, but space wise, same thing. So they're just honing in on that. These
you need to take Mike.
Problems that you guys have. You guys are so privileged.
You need to take Mike and try again. Okay, let's put it off the list or standby. Yes. We'll put it in
whatever.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna give one of mine. All right. My next one I love this one because, again, this is going to lean into Disney, which is something that most families are looking for, but it's going to do it in a little bit more regal of a way. And this is going to be the Princess Rooms over at Port Orleans Riverside. This is a moderate resort. These rooms are super affordable. This theming is to die for any princess lover in your family. They are beautiful and you feel so special when you are in them. They're perfect for celebrating maybe your little one's birthday or something like that. I will say they're not in the most convenient location on the resort, but I think the theming sort of makes up for that. So I'm okay with it. And I love the boat access. That's always really fun. And Port Orleans Riverside, it is a much more laid back resort. So it's sort of speaking to that calmness that you're looking for after a big park day, but you're still getting to capitalize on Disney theming.
It's not on my list. I feel like I could be persuaded, though. I feel like my girls love it. My boys love it. I've stayed there a few times and I always feel like the room itself is like a experience. I wanted to take pictures of like every interesting thing in the room to have like really good coverage for it.
Yeah.
And it was like I never stopped taking pictures. I never stopped taking pictures. Was there for days and I was like, oh, I didn't see this. I got to take a picture. Oh my gosh. There was so much. There's like in the little trim around the ceiling and like there's the obvious things that jump out to you that are the theming. Then as you stay there longer, you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. How I also love Port Orleans Riverside. It's one of my favorites. I feel like the whole vibe is really cool. And to me, it's one of those places where it does feel like Disney's nailed it and you don't feel like you're in Central Florida anymore. You're like on the bayou. And the food options are really good. You have the sister resort of the French Quarter, which means you can use their pool. They can use your pool. The French Quarter is one of my absolute favorite places. So being like walking right over there or riding the boat and being able to use their food court, which is really neat, and being able to use their pool. I feel like I could be convinced, even though this wasn't on my list. What do you say, Karla?
I have it on my list. I didn't specify the princess room, but I can definitely see where you're coming from with that specification. I personally put Port Orleans French Quarter, but I just recently stayed at Riverside. I would say the same. I do tend to like the French Quarter side more because it feels smaller, the bus situation. Either way, though, I love the boat to Disney Springs. I think that is a huge selling point. And I think just as a moderate resort, and the fact that it's not on the Skyliner, and I can still say it's my favorite option as a moderate resort option.
I think we all agree on this one too. And if y'all are okay with it, I would love to make it the specification of Princess Room because of the things LJ said. This is a Disney room. This is the creativity you're looking for. This is my favorite Disney characters are the princesses. I know that's cliche, but I love them. And it's shocking how little their presence really is in the resorts. They're not princess centric resorts really. And this is where you get that fix. And I love this option. I think more than not, there are princess lovers going to Disney World, and this is a must stay if you have one.
No, and you know what I want to add to this is the balance that they do between the theming and the resort itself being like such a calm and serene environment where again you don't feel like you're in Orlando or in this giant like theme park situation. I love that balance that is there and the calmness, and I just love everything about both of the Port Orleans options.
I say let's add it, and I'm good with it being princess rooms as
I am too.
The thing.
Great. Okay. So we have 5 on our list. I still have 2 to say myself. How many do you have left on your list, LJ?
I have 3.
Carla?
I have 2.
Okay, LJ, you give us one.
Okay, I'm going to say the Contemporary. So here's why. 2 things. I love the walk. I love being able to walk to Magic Kingdom. Not needing like Disney transportation at the end of the night when you're like spent, and being able to walk to the Contemporary. And you could argue, well, why didn't you say the Grand Floridian? And I'm like, I do actually love the Grand Floridian. Given the choice between the two, I would probably pick the Grand Floridian. But here's why I say the Contemporary is the must do. And it's a couple things. The monorail going through the building just is the coolest thing. My kids, from the time they were little all the way up till now, and let's be honest, I'm still like, the monorail.
Yeah.
One of Ace's first words was monorail. And we didn't even know what she was saying. That's how little she was, that she was like barely getting it out. And it was like, that's what she's been saying? Like, she's been saying monorail this whole time. And that feature is just super cool. Also, I love the pools at the Contemporary, probably more than the pools at the Grand. I feel like the main pool, it's a really good slide. My kids love it. They will just go up and down the slide. The other time, my son Asher kept count of how many times he went. And it was something like 27 times, just like up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's fabulous. He's wearing a life jacket. I am like just sitting there reading. I know the Disney lifeguards are on point, and I feel like it can be relaxing for everybody involved. I also love the little like hidden pool that's behind the main pool. It's like actually kind of sticking out into Bay Lake. So you feel like you're in some like amazing place where this pool is part of, like is out on the lake. It's incredible. There's hardly ever anybody out there. I feel like the few times that I've, gotten to spend like a whole pool day out there, it's felt like it's my private pool. Like nobody has come out there the whole time. The bathrooms are right there. The food is right there. It's just like a whole experience. Okay, you guys tell me if you agree.
You made valid points. I don't like the pools at the Contemporary. They're my least favorite on the monorail loop because I think they lack in character where the other ones pick up there.
And I agree. They do feel like the Contemporary vibe of like the modern vibe is like stark. And so that's what they did at the pool. There's no like, it's kind of like the theme is no theme. So
yeah, it's just blue. The theme is blue.
Yeah.
Karla, what about you? Because
it's on my list. It's on my list, and I specified the theme park view. So the main tower theme park view, I think that it speaks to, if ever I thought about Disney and like going to Disney as a kid, it's going on the monorail through that building.
Let me say this then. Let's put it in the standby queue for a second because I need to say my next pick. Because...
No. Two of us agree. It goes on the list.
No.
Try to argue.
I get to just plead a case for a second because my next one was also a theme park view specification, Karla, but you have joined me in my choice theme park view. And that's going to be next door to the Contemporary at the Polynesian. So
it doesn't mean we can only pick one of those places.
Hold on, because we only have 2 more places on our list. So here's my thought. Just let me get the thought out, and then I'm happy to step back. But I think when we're thinking of an ultimate 7 list must-stays, we probably only need 1 monorail resort, maybe. And I just think out of the 3, the Polynesian is such the clear best. It's so good. Its theming is the best. It smells the best. Its food is the best. Its views are the best. I mean,
to me, the Poly is the worst on the monorail line. I know it's your baby. I know you love it. But I would take the Contemporary or the Grand Floridian over the Poly like any day of the week and twice on Sundays because you have to ride the monorail back. You can't walk. And like if you
take a boat.
Yeah, okay, that's like just as long. But if you are tired from like if you're coming back and you are tired and you've just watched the fireworks, like the last thing I want to do is wait on any form of Disney transportation. Like I am back in my room at the Contemporary on my second water by the time you're getting to your room.
No, because
the monorail.
No, because the last thing I want to do is walk more. I'm like, get me on the boat dock. I'm the only one there. Everybody has.
You're going to be standing on your poor sore feet, like not even moving.
Here's what's real. I'm down for a theme park view at either of these resorts because really the view is what matters most to me. And if I'm looking at Magic Kingdom, then it can be on the must-stay list. As long as everybody knows that the 2 of you chose Contemporary and I was in favor of Polynesian because it is a superior resort.
Let the record show.
Excuse me, the Polynesian is also on my list. Thank you. I think when you're talking about the Polynesian, you really are talking that like all-encompassing factor. It has the pool. It has the view. It has the food. It has those unique experiences like Ohana and Trader Sam's. It has like the full picture. The biggest thing for me is walkability, which is convenience. it is the monorail going through, which is so nostalgic and so like cliche Disney, that that's one of those experiences that is just in your head if you've ever been there before. But when it comes again to the pool and to the, you know, the other parts of the contemporary that really just kind of don't exist, then you do have to kind of weigh both options. And that's why the poly between the two is for sure, you know, up there on my list as well.
I would totally be comfortable with those rounding out our list. If we added, if we have 5 now, if we added the contemporary and the poly, I don't feel like my other 2 that I had hold a candle to those. I do feel like they're good, and they're both, one's a value, one's a moderate. And like if you were talking about like, I have a budget, I think my other 2 are worth talking about. But if you were like, truly, I want these to be like the top 7 bucket list, then I think the contemporary and the poly both belong there.
So here's, what if we do this? Do you think I'm crazy? Because I want to hear what everybody's last one is. Between the contemporary and the Polynesian, you know, obviously we're going to have our strong opinions on which we like better, but is there a better one? I mean, that is truly down to opinion, right? Each of these resorts are super unique for deluxe because you're getting Disney theming in your room. That is very rare for a deluxe resort. You get Incredibles at Contemporary, you get Moana or Lilo and Stitch at Polynesian. You can get the theme park view, which is, to me, what makes this the must stay. You can see the firework. I mean, it's really happily ever after. The soundtrack plays at both of these resorts. So we could separate them after we hear everybody's, but we could also, does it make sense to say one of the must stays is to say theme park view at either Contemporary or Polynesian?
Oh, I kind of like that. This way we're totally cheating the system and having 8, 9 if you count Beach and Yacht Club.
I mean, there's such different experiences, and it's like, as long as you stay theme park view at one of them, then we're doing okay.
I'm interested to see what your last 2 are, because I only have one more on my list and it really shouldn't make the list. It's just I have a thing for these 2 resorts. So I would like to know what else is on your list that you think should make the top 7.
I only have one left because theme park view at Poly was on my list. And then I also have an honorable mention one because I could only make a list of 7. And I was like, oh, I will stick true to my list. But I had one on there that I'm just going to throw out there too.
And I feel like my last one is like an honorable mention. But
okay.
You go first.
So my actual one on my list is to stay Savannah View, Animal Kingdom Lodge. Nowhere else. You're not doing that anywhere else. You're not staying and seeing, zebras mating out your balcony at 7 a.m. anywhere else ever.
Did you say mating? Wow.
I did. Yeah.
I was going to say.
They're just out there. They're roaming. They're doing their thing. And they're out there all night, all day. It does not smell. That's like the number one question I get is, does
really?
Animal Kingdom Lodge smell?
That's
I don't think it smells at all.
I never even thought of that. I've stayed there so many times that I've literally never even thought
because it doesn't smell.
The animals. It doesn't smell at all. You're not going to smell the animals.
No. It's beautiful. Is it far away? Yes. Is it huge? Could you have a walk to your room? Sure thing. Do you have to take a bus to every park? Yes, you do. So for those reasons, is it the most convenient? Absolutely not. However, I find my family going back here often because the 1-bedroom villas there, and even just a studio there, a standard room there, as long as you have the Savannah view, it's such a unique experience that if we're making a Disney bucket list must stay, how could you not say stay where you see the animals?
The problem here is that I feel like we are extremely heavy with deluxes, because I feel like and that maybe that's okay because they are like the experiences. The 2 that I had on my list that I haven't talked about yet are both, one's a value and one's a moderate. And it was like I was going to choose like the best in these categories. And now I did have like the Nemo Art of Animation Suite. We do have that. But I also had Pop Century as, not from the standpoint of like, I have all the money in the world and money is no object. Where am I going to pick to stay? You're absolutely not going to pick Pop Century. But from the standpoint of like, you're on a budget or you want to do like a nice thing without going over a certain amount. My kids pick Pop Century all the time. Like they want to go there. It's on the Skyliner. Now, it depends on what the list is, because if the list is like the best 7 places to stay at Disney, then Pop Century doesn't belong there. But if you're like the best and you factor in like value, you factor in cost, then I feel like Pop Century does belong there because it's not that much more expensive than the All Stars. You're gonna save so much money, even compared to like Art of Animation. You're gonna save quite a lot of money. You still get the Skyliner. You have this incredible theming. I feel like it speaks to like a lot of different age groups, having the different decades in there and it being like, this is my decade from when I grew up. I think like that's why I put it on the list.
Katie, it doesn't go on the list.
Yeah. Before we decide what the 7th spot is, Karla, I want to hear what yours is.
Well, mine's an honorable mention. It's the Swan and Dolphin. It's not even technically a Disney resort, so I won't even go into it.
I've been sitting here shocked this whole time, wondering why isn't Karla saying Swan Dolphin so I can tell her no?
All right, but okay, it's a moderate price point with deluxe perks. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. However, our list is the top 7 must-stays, meaning that these are your must bucket list places to stay, rooms to stay, specifics. And Animal Kingdom, Savannah View totally goes on the list. It's a unique experience like none other. You're still at Disney. Do I love it? And do you probably owe Haley some money for putting it on there? Yes. But are you right for doing it? Yes. It does belong on there. I do love Pop Century as a value option, but I do think that we checked our boxes by putting a value option on the list as well as a moderate option. So I feel like we can't get too much, hate mail from this list, but it is one of those top experiences at Disney.
I think it has to be there. And I am an Animal Kingdom Lodge lover myself. I don't talk about it a lot on the show, and I'm weary of leading people towards it because of the lack of convenience. But as an experience, my family's done it a lot, and it's a must. I think it belongs there.
I'm okay with it. So we would finish out our list with adding a theme park view at either Contemporary or Poly, and the final one would be Savannah View at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And I think for any Smart Moms travel agents listening today, our hidden Mickey can be Animal Kingdom Lodge, because it's the last thing on our list.
That's fine with me.
Okay, this is really good. I feel, first of all, I feel like most of all of ours made this must-stay list, which makes me
surprisingly, we agreed a lot before we even talked.
And we took our losses pretty well.
Yes.
You really dogged my Tower Studio pick, but it's okay.
It's horrible. Go stay there. Then we can talk.
Okay, so here it is then. The 7.
Let's stay there, and we'll be moving our suitcases around, and I'll be like, Aly, we have to move our suitcases around. You're the one that wanted to stay here. You have to move it. We'll
document the whole experience. It'll be a rewards trip for one. We'll share this tiny room, and then we'll also pair it with our worst Epcot day that listeners are it's just gonna be like the worst trip ever.
I can't wait for that episode. Okay, can we round out our top 7 must-stays?
Yes. So this is it. The final, according to us, must-stay experiences for the sleepiest episode of them all. We have the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness, in particular on a holiday like Halloween or Christmas. Disney's Wilderness Lodge near Magic Kingdom, access by boat. A Finding Nemo suite at the Art of Animation, which is going to be on the Skyliner, also going to be a great value. Disney's Yacht and or Beach Club, kind of one resort there in the Boardwalk area. A Princess Royal Suite at Port Orleans Riverside. A theme park view room at either Contemporary or the Polynesian. And then, of course, a Savannah View room at Animal Kingdom Lodge. These are the ones. These are the must-stays. This is Disney at its best with theming, convenience, luxury, value. These are the ones.
This is the way.
I feel really good about this. I feel like if you've done these 7 things, you have a nice full Disney card. These are the experiences that I feel like it just embodies Disney. You've done it.
Some honorable mentions would be the Grand Floridian at Christmas time, or just staying club level in general.
And don't forget the Swan and Dolphin.
Yeah. Okay.
My honorable mention is Pop Century.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we all got an honorable mention, but I think we can agree they're not the best.
No, they don't
Okay.
belong on the list, but
Hey, and you know what? If you are a listener and you don't agree with our list and you want your chance to weigh in, well, there are a couple ways to do so. You can join us this week on social media. Let us know what we got wrong. If there's an experience you think should have made the list ahead of one of these, we want to hear it. And then don't forget that coming up in just a few weeks, we have the dopiest of them all. This is your chance to join the conversation. Fill out the form. I mentioned at the top of the show in our show notes, links in our bios, social medias. You can find it several places. Let us know. Be part of it. Don't let us do all the work. You tell us where we get it right and wrong. And of course, let us laugh at your expense, maybe. So I'm super excited for that. Don't forget to participate. We can't wait. That is then going to do it for us today on the sleepiest of them all here on the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. This was so much fun. Now I want to go do all of these experiences and just check them all off the list again. They're so great. As always, if you are a listener and you are looking at planning or ready to start planning your Disney trip, and you don't already have a Smart Moms travel agent, please be sure to click the link in our bio or show notes to get connected with a free Smart Moms travel agent and podcast co-host. We are available and ready to help you. We cannot wait. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Get the episode as it drops each week to wherever you listen, your choice platform. You don't want to miss it because we're always dropping something new and fun and exciting. We are available everywhere you get your podcasts and on all social media platforms at Smart Moms Plan Disney Podcast. Be sure to join us tomorrow on the Happily Ever After show. And we can't wait to see you there. So until next time, we'll see you real soon.